Hey, what's up guys? Today we've got some very exciting news because it looks like Canon might be potentially releasing the absolute dream lens. This has the potential to be one of the best lenses ever made and probably one of the most popular lenses as well. However, it will be probably one of the most expensive lenses as well because it actually might be too good to be true. So I've got all this information from Canon Rumors and we're just going to jump straight into the article now and talk about this new beast of a lens. So as you can see, is the Canon RF 24-105mm f2.8 L lens IS on the way. Yes, you heard right, a 24-105, not f4, but an f2.8 with image stabilization. The 24-70 f2.8 is one of the most popular lenses ever for photo and video, and the fact that a 24-105, so you can get that extra telephoto reach at 2.8 with image stabilization, this lens just seems too good to be true, and it actually might be as well, because as you can see, it says this is a CR1. Now, if you don't know what a CR1 is, it's basically information that Canon Rumors actually get, but from like an unreliable source or not a reliable source. A CR3 is a fact, so it's definitely going to happen. A CR2 is information from a good source, and a CR1 is information from like an unreliable source or source that they've not really like worked with before or heard from before. So there is a good chance that this is actually not true because of obviously it's not a CR2 or a CR3. However, it still actually might potentially be a thing. So let's actually carry on reading the article. And it actually says Canon has a bunch of lenses that will be announced in 2023. They've been actually pushing to actually release a lot of lenses this year, especially with the long awaited RF 35mm f1.2 or 1.4. That's what people are waiting for. And then it says the most obvious desires shooters is a fast wide angle L prime lenses, which is like the 35mm I was on about as well. And it says now for the second time we have an anonymous report. So here you go. It's not the most reliable report because it is anonymous. They don't know who it is. That Canon actually plans to announce a Canon RF 24-105mm f2.8 L lens with image stabilization in the first half of 2023. So this potentially could be right around the corner. This might be coming out in like May, June time maybe, or announced around that time. So that's another reason why it might not be the most true, but then again, it could be because they do plan to release a lot of lenses as well. And it says that is a lot of overlap of focal ranges. There is the RF 24-70 f2.8, like I mentioned earlier, which is one of the most popular lenses and one of the most expensive lenses, coming in at like £2,200, maybe even a little bit more as well in some places. And you've got the RF 24-105 f47.1 image stabilizer lens, which is obviously the kit lens when you normally get your R6 II, your R5. It's just a basic kit lens, like the lower end kit lens. That's the lens I got when I got my Canon EOS R, and it wasn't the best lens just because of the variable aperture. It was a good lens. I like the variable zoom range, 24-105. I loved that actual focal length range. And then obviously you've got the 24-105 f4 lens image stabilization as well. So that's a very popular lens. But obviously with it being f4, it's not the best in low light situations. I currently have what I'm shooting on now, the 16-35mm f4, and it's just not the best in low light. You have to crank up your ISO quite a bit. So having that versatile range from 24-105 is so good because it is so versatile and it's a great travel lens, but it does come at its cons because of obviously that f4. But with the potential release of the Canon RF 24-105 f2.8, that will actually change the game for a lot of people, with it obviously being a lot better in low light. You can obviously get more bokeh in your background as well, let more light in, you don't have to up your ISO too much. It's just a perfect all-around lens. Getting that extra focal length in from 70 to 105 is crucial, and it will be a very popular lens. However, I do think with it being this such a good versatile focal range, I do think it might be in the price range of the Canon 28-70 f2, just because of how versatile and the low f-stop of that actual zoom lens actually is. I think this lens will be very similar with the price tag on that, especially when the 24-70 is around £2,300. I reckon you could go close to the £3,000 mark. And it does say adding a fourth lens to this range doesn't really feel likely. It does remind us of the EF 24-70 f4 image stabilization lens macro, and a lot of people thought that didn't make sense with the overlap, but actually turned out to be a pretty popular lens. We are surprised by this information. They're not ready to dismiss it. Canon could add a trick or two of the lens to differentiate it from others in the range, and I reckon this actually could be a system seller, to be fair, if you've obviously got the money as well. So you never know. 4 lenses in that focal range is a bit too much, But to be fair, if Canon do want to separate themselves from like Sony and everything like that, to be fair, having this lens will actually be a good way to do that, because I think this lens will be so popular. Again, it is very expensive, but it's also very exciting as well. Think about it, if you do get a 24-105 f2.8, it does actually cancel out the amount of lenses that you do need. You probably won't need a 24-70 anymore, so you can actually probably sell that and end up getting this. Obviously, if the sharpness and the overall image quality is just as good as that lens. And obviously the prime lenses as well. f2.8 is still a good actual focal range, but obviously it's not as good as f1.8 to f1.2. But if you don't want to carry around prime lenses and change lenses all the time, this is probably the perfect lens for so many situations. So I actually do want to know what your comments are. Leave your thoughts down below. Will you actually pick this lens up if it's real? Do you think it's real? Do you think Canon will ever do this, or any manufacturer actually release this lens like this? So leave your comments down below what you actually think, because I think this is very exciting, but also it's actually a bit far-fetched as well. But you never know, they might release this lens, and I really hope they do. And anyway, if you did enjoy this video, hit that like button and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. So if you do like your Canon gear as well, you actually might want to watch this video next to actually see some hidden features on the Canon R6 Mark II that you might not have known when you actually did find out about this camera. So make sure you go watch this video next.